What up, Dan Chan? Thanks for joining. We'll get started in a couple minutes here. Just getting some people to space, getting our speakers, and then we'll get it rolling. Thanks for being the first speaker, Buzz. Good to see you. And like I said, just give us a couple minutes, let the room fill up, and get our speakers in here. Then we're good to go.
Hey, testing, testing.
Yo, William, you sound good, bud. GM, bud. Thanks for joining up. Cynthia, GM, buddy, how are you doing?
GM, Alex. Hi, William. Good morning, guys. For me, actually, it is morning. 1 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez Louise, thanks for joining up, bud. I always appreciate you getting up early for our spaces, man. I really do appreciate it. Bill, good morning, buddy. How are you doing? GM.
GM. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, bud. Thanks for joining our space today. We're just getting the rest of our speakers up here, and then we'll get started. Everybody else, in the meantime, too, if you don't mind, just throwing us a like, hitting a retweet, getting some more people in here. I'd really love to blow this space up today. I think we got a really interesting topic, and we got some really great speakers to talk about it with us. So if you guys want to go hit that retweet button, get as many people in here as possible. It would make
Then go ahead and request that. Yo, I think you've come up. You in, John?
Yes, I'm here. You hear me okay?
Yes, we got you loud and clear.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay. So, yeah, we had some major confusion between Questbook and Arbitrum. They were invited to our space. Then they created their own space. And then we clarified with them that the space was already organized and hosted over here. And they said, yep, okay, we'll definitely be there. But I have yet to see Questbook or Arbitrum in here. So we are at the whim of their mercy. Or the mercy of their whim. So let's see. Hopefully they get in here soon. Yeah. So what's been going on with you these days, John?
Oh, just keep working on all these fun things and took a little break yesterday for the holiday and just back at it today.
Nice. You go watch some fireworks?
I actually didn't see any fireworks, but I had a nice kind of quiet day yesterday.
Okay. Are you in Canada? I seem to remember you being in. No, you're not in Canada, are you? That was.
I think you're thinking of Michael.
Yes. Okay. So it was proper Independence Day for you yesterday.
Yes, I am not a Canadian.
But you're nice. You're a nice guy. You could be mistaken for Canadian.
I'm not that nice.
I guess I don't know you that well yet. Nice. I'm born in Canada, but I'm American, and I haven't lived in America for like 23 years. So, yeah, I'm just a big mix myself.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I still celebrated though. Had a couple of beers, woke up with a sore head. But yeah, we're off to the races here today. Been a busy man. And this is going to cap off my evening, so I'm really looking forward to it. Still no sign from Arbitrum or Questbook. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can jump in and go over the main topic, which is going to be rFOX today. And if Questbook and or Arbitrum make it in, then we'll happily have them up on stage and let them speak their piece. But realistically, this is all about rFOX today. It's what the whole week has been about. So what do you say we kick it off, John?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good to me.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, thanks again, everybody who's joined in so far. Really looking forward to this space. A couple of weeks ago when H. Payne told me about rFOX, I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. But the more and more I looked into it, the more I realized how cool it is as a staking mechanism. So we're going to dive into what it's all about, how you can participate, and what the rewards are for those who do participate. Before we jump into any of that, I'm going to read my standard disclaimer that none of this is financial or investment advice. Views shared are those of the individual speaker and in no way represent Shapeshift. Discussions are for entertainment and educational purposes only. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Stake Fox, Earn Rune, and Chill. It's that easy, guys. The steps from A to Z for new users, how to buy and bridge Fox, staking rFOX, setting up a Rune wallet, because that is an important part of the whole process. Hopefully we can get somebody in here from Arbitrum and Questbook as mentioned, so we can learn about what's new in the world of Arbitrum and the Questbook grants ecosystem. And then we're going to touch into some recent industry news and events. So our Shapeshift promo today, we always love to shout out Shapeshift since they make this happen for us. Shapeshift is a non-custodial DEX aggregator which connects liquidity across 15 blockchains with one click, and now they allow you to earn cross-chain yield from single-sided staking using rFOX on Arbitrum to earn Rune on Thorchain. Put your Fox to good use, keep your voting power and active power discount, and enjoy earning real yield from Shapeshift's Rune affiliate fees. So, joining me on stage today, I have John, who is the co-founder of Shapeshift, and I believe you're the COO of Shapeshift. Is that what you would describe your role as, John?
No, actually.
Okay.
I was the former COO of Shapeshift before it decentralized, back when Shapeshift was a centralized company, but have not held that title or role since the decentralization in late 2021. So at this point, I'm just a community member. I don't actually have a like formal role within the Shapeshift community, but I show up and contribute occasionally where I can and where I think I can add value and things like that. But yeah, I don't actually have a formal role within the DAO today.
All right, nice. So former COO, current badass community member, and super active in the forums. If you look through the Shapeshift forums, you'll see John all over the place. So still quite active, which is fantastic. What are some of the other things that you get up to in the crypto space these days, John? Or is it mainly Shapeshift that you're working on?
Yeah, there's a couple small projects that I've been helping with in addition to the DAO that I continue to contribute to. I know we talked about one of those, Archeo, which was actually a project that spun off the DAO that is in the process of getting ready to launch. We talked about that, I think like 6 weeks ago, something like that. So still working on that. Couple other projects that are going on. Including this game that's about to launch called SoulForge Fusion. That's a friend of mine that I've been helping, um, and some other things that are brewing, but not public yet.
Okay, nice. Yeah, Archeo is a super interesting one. And we had a big deep dive on that, as you mentioned, a couple of weeks ago. So if anybody's interested in anything that Archeo is doing, go back and take a listen to that space. It started out of Shapeshift, and it's really the decentralized how the decentralized data is managed within Shapeshift, and now it's branched out to support other projects. Yeah, how is it going with Archeo these days? Have you guys made much progress over the last month or so?
Yeah, made progress, but not quite at the launching point yet that we would like to be. So hopefully going to be there soon, and got the teams working on it. There's been some unexpected last minute challenges that have come up, but very, very close.
Okay, nice. Well, keep us posted, and hopefully we'll be revisiting that topic in a few months to see what sort of progress you've made, and and what's new there. So we're gonna dive right into rFOX. This is what the marketing team has been pushing this week. It's a really interesting initiative. So for those of you who don't know what it is, I touched on it briefly. Um, but here's like a high level overview of what it is. rFOX is a novel staking mechanism that enables single-sided Fox staking on Arbitrum chain and rewards stakers with RUNE tokens derived directly from the Shapeshift RUNE affiliate fees. So every time a Thorchain supported trade happens on Shapeshift, a portion of those fees go directly to rFOX stakers. This is something that was submitted by the community towards the end of last year. It went to snapshot in February and it passed with nearly 90% support. So it had a lot of backing from the community. And the breakdown currently now with the RUNE affiliate fees is that 25% of all new RUNE is distributed to stakers, 25% is used to buy and burn Fox, and then 50% is held by the Treasury. So, John, can you touch into what that means by new RUNE? From what I initially understood was this would be affiliate fees, but I think there's also something to do with if RUNE grants are given to the Shapeshift DAO. What does this mean by new RUNE?
Yeah, so yeah, the way that proposal was written, it was meant to capture any sources of Rune revenue that come into the DAO treasury. So primarily, as you said, that's generally affiliate fees today. The reason it was written that way was simply because we don't know what might happen in the future, what new revenue sources the DAO might add, what new sources of Rune it might add. But 95, 99% of that is going to be the affiliate fees that the DAO earns when people trade on Shapeshift through Thorchain. So that's mainly where that's going to come from.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if Shapeshift was to qualify for some sort of Thorchain grant or the rune was to come in, then people would be able to enjoy a piece of that as well.
Yes, yeah. The idea is that rFOX stakers just get a portion for staking of what the DAO earns in Rune. So yeah, we just didn't know necessarily what that would look like, and it says new because it doesn't necessarily qualify for assets the DAO already had in the treasury before the proposal was implemented. But this creates a really interesting and, in my opinion, fun incentive that the DAO has already started to market and can run interesting campaigns around, because it creates this ecosystem now where rFOX stakers should be incentivized to help bring volume to the DAO, to the product, because everyone benefits when they do, including themselves, including their friends that they get to stake Fox. Anyone that is involved in that ecosystem all now has a direct incentive to want to help bring more volume to the Shapeshift DAO and for everyone to reap the benefits as a community.
Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, if you have friends that you want to that are looking for places to trade, or no matter where you're making your trades, if you're staking rFOX, it makes sense to make that trade directly on the Shapeshift platform because you will directly benefit from those affiliate fees.
Yeah, and even as like a single person who's staking now, I think a fun way to think about it too, and this is just launched, so I'm sure the marketing work stream will have many ideas to play with over time. But because you also get, Fox already gave you discount benefits, so if you hold at least 300,000 Fox right now, you get free trades on Shapeshift regardless, and that also applies for rFOX. So arguably, if you're holding at least now 300,000 rFOX or more, or 300,000 Fox staked in rFOX specifically, you not only get free trades, but you're actually effectively getting paid to trade. You're actually getting like kickbacks for trading on top of getting free trades. So arguably, there would be no reason you wouldn't want to trade with Shapeshift if you had those holdings at that point.
Yeah, that's a great point. So you keep your power discount and you also get incentivized for doing the action. And the thing I like about that, so one of my other projects is in the payments industry, and we're dealing with these interchange fees. Now, so the fee is charged to the merchant no matter what, right? When you look at, say, swapping fees, oftentimes a platform will put a fee on top of that swapping fee, or on top of that swap, and they can reduce that, or they can incentivize by giving some of that into a liquidity pool, lenders, or back to the swappers. And that is all managed by the swapping platform itself. In this case, the swapping platform, Shapeshift, is already giving you free trades by not charging anything to people who hold Fox or rFOX. But on top of that, they're giving you the money that they earn from the underlying chain, Thorchain, and giving that back to you as well. So there's no way that you could reduce the fees because that's controlled by Thorchain, but you're actually giving a portion of the fee to the traders and incentivizing them in that way. So I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. Is not only is Shapeshift enabling free trades, but they're also giving back to the community that supports Shapeshift overall.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So I mean, in a perfect world, if this works out and creates, I think, the feedback loop that, I would love to see and that I think would benefit the DAO the most, you get in a feedback loop where, everyone is incentivized to bring value to the DAO that they share in that also benefits everyone. And of course, also, at least in the current setup, 25% of that rune is also used to buy back and burn Fox. So it even benefits Fox holders who are not staking in rFOX. So the whole ecosystem benefits effectively with every trade.
Boom. Okay. Now, this is a slightly touchy subject. I hate bringing up the SEC. Um, how does this look with the Howey test? Is this considered profits on? Is this considered a security in any way, shape, or form? In your, I mean, obviously, I don't want you to perjure yourself or anyone else in this matter. Shapeshift is a decentralized platform. As I just said, it's a tricky subject, but it's one that we have to be considerate of, especially in this ecosystem. Was there any work put into that consideration, or how did the community decide to move forward in that situation?
Yeah, I'm not sure it really makes sense for me to comment on that, to be honest. I personally don't have any concerns about it. I will put
Mm-hmm.
that way, but I don't have any official standpoint. I don't speak for Shapeshift on that front. Really, my only real involvement with this was in the idea generation phase. I helped propose this idea. There was lots of discussion on the forum, but really all of the hard work and implementation was done by the Shapeshift DAO, work streams, the product engineering work streams, the operations work stream, all the marketing work stream now, all those folks who were working on it together and came up with the implementation details, decided to do this on Arbitrum, all the cool, interface and how this all works. I don't know that I could give anything on that legal side other than to say it's not, for various reasons, that's not a concern to me.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, and I don't mean to throw you on the spot there. It's a tricky, it's dark waters out there, and we just have to tread lightly when it comes to regulations. Anybody who's not in the U.S. obviously doesn't have to consider that at all. But given the fact that there are profits out there being distributed, that's where things, that's where we just wish we had better regulations. So SEC, if you're out there listening, make shit clear for people so they know what they're doing, and there isn't this
Yeah,
question, right?
that would be nice. But until we get, as the political winds change, maybe those types of things will get better. I mean, what I will say is that the centralized company Shapeshift had a long engagement and eventually settlement that's public now a couple number of months ago with the SEC, and the SEC had every opportunity to say something or go after Fox, and they specifically did not. And so that that is something where that's about as good as you're going to get from the SEC and US regulators. You're never going to get like, a letter saying, hey, everyone, X asset is not a security. That doesn't really happen. They don't do that. But if they have an opportunity to go after an asset and they don't, that tells you, in my opinion, all you need to know.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So moving on from that dark subject and moving forward, we've also got Gom in the audience, and he's from the engineering team. So hopefully he can join up on stage. He has just requested that in DMs. So Fabio, if you see him out there, just send him an invite. So right, so you get your Fox, you get it onto Arbitrum, and you stake, and then you're earning Rune rewards, right? So we have to be mindful that Rune rewards are on a different chain. So I think let's do this. I want people to understand how this works from a user perspective. So I've written down some sort of A to Z steps that people can take on how to actually get this done. So I'm just going to go over these advantages one more time of why anybody would want to do rFOX, and then we'll go through how to actually do that. And then Gom or John, you can correct me where I'm running astray. So in terms of advantages, you maintain your governance rights by holding rFOX, so you can still vote. You can use tokens as collateral to secure the infrastructure, right? That's what you're doing when you're staking. You're helping to secure Shapeshift as a platform because you are setting those tokens aside. They're not being spent. You're reducing volatility, and then you're unlocking new economic opportunities. So how to rFOX. So as I mentioned before, Rune rewards are directed to a Thor chain address. This is not an EVM or 0x address. If you're using a native Shapeshift wallet, a Rune address is actually already created for you. This is super simple. This is the way I did it the first time. I have the mobile app, created a Shapeshift wallet. All the different addresses on all the different chains were automatically created for me. And now when I go to stake my rFOX, it's pre-populated. If you're using MetaMask, you can use the Shapeshift Snap. You can use the Thorchain wallet directly there. And so when you're using your Shapeshift Snap, you'll be able to use the integrated Thorchain wallet to direct your Rune tokens. If you're using any other wallet besides Shapeshift or besides the native Shapeshift, besides MetaMask or the native Shapeshift wallet, then you'll have to use an existing or new Rune address and then enter that manually. So you'll see that quite obviously in the staking interface. You enter how much Fox you want to stake, and then it will ask you to select your Rune address. If there's one connected through your native Shapeshift address, your native Shapeshift wallet, that appears there, and it gives you the opportunity to change that as well. One thing I love about that is you can use, say, for example, a multi-sig Rune address where you can direct your staking rewards from your hot wallet or your other cold wallet, and then you move those directly over to your Rune multi-sig, for example. Does that sound about right, John?
Yeah, ultimately, it's just about having some sort of native Thorchain address that you point to with when you stake. That is where your Rune rewards are collected. So that's done very easily, as you mentioned. Like if you just use Shapeshift's native wallet, it's done all for you. Even if you like connect the ledger or you connect MetaMask snaps, as you mentioned, there's many ways to do it. You just got to get a native Thorchain address sometime. And this is really cool in my opinion because it's one of the only ways to earn native Rune without some sort of impermanent loss risk. I know that the Thorchain ecosystem is working on other ways to do single-sided Rune yield with things like Rune Pool and stuff they're working on, but right now at least, this is one of the only ways you can earn native Rune without taking on some sort of impermanent loss risk or running a validator node, a full Thor node, which is extremely capital intensive. So for most people, this is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to earn Rune, and you also, get exposure to the Shapeshift ecosystem as well as part of that. So to me, that's super cool.
Absolutely. And we have a new speaker on stage. We've got Gom. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Jim. How you guys doing?
Good to see you.
Hey,
Yeah,
Gomes.
good to see you, sir. Just wanted to actually clarify on one thing with regards to RUNE address while I'm here. There's actually a third option you can do. So yeah, you really have the flexibility, like in terms of like how you get your rewards. Yeah, because you really noted well that we do support RUNE if you use the Shapeshift native wallet, which is of course always like the preferred way. You can use Snap, which again, for those of you unaware in the audience, allows you to support non-EVM assets, supported by Shapeshift, obviously, with your MetaMask. And of course, you can also like enter it manually. So yeah, if you don't want to change your habits, you're not comfortable using a native wallet or installing the Snap, you can just enter your RUNE address. You can change it as anytime as you want if you're not sure which one you want, and eventually the last one that you use will be used for rewards at the end of the epoch, which is once a month.
Okay, so once a month is when the rewards are allocated, right?
Precisely, yeah.
Okay, and how long does that take to actually allocate those rewards? Is that done within a few days, or is that something that happens automatically?
Let's just say that it's kind of like semi-automatic. It does require some kind of human action, but you can expect that it will be at the very beginning. Well, since the epoch is like first calendar day, midnight UC, it will be pretty much a few hours after that consistently. And it's done with the multi-sig again. So yeah, it's manual but automatic at the same time. It's sufficiently decentralized, as we say.
Nice. And the reason that takes a month is because that's how long it takes for the affiliate fees to be calculated by Thorchain and distributed to Shapeshift, right?
High level, yes, that would be the idea, but not really. At the end of the day, it's really just some heuristics that we have to come up with. Could be even more than that, isn't it? But rewards again accrue with Thorchain, and that's really just the affiliate reward. So it wouldn't have to be one month necessarily. They would accrue anyway. But it's again about sort of balance between convenience for users and something that makes sense, convenience for engineering to not have to process things too much and add extra steps that could fail. So yeah, it doesn't have to be 1 month, but it's a heuristic.
Okay. All right. So there may be changes to that moving forward. We might see shorter times depending on how streamlined we can make this process.
Precisely, and it can also that's one thing that that's flexible at contract level. Everything can change. So same things like cooling periods, all these things can change.
Mm-hmm.
It's more unlikely, to be honest, for the epoch because that's kind of like thought for the ground up as a calendar month epoch. So changing that would be quite a change, but it is possible if we ever decide to.
Okay. Right. So I was just getting into the A to Z, right? We covered RUNE rewards, how they're directed to a Thorchain address, and how to connect a Thorchain address to your account. Okay, so that's pretty much step one, is knowing where that's going to go. So now, the first step, as it were, would be to get your Fox onto Arbitrum chain. So you can do that by bridging Fox to Arbitrum. There's a very useful bridge that has been developed. I'm going to actually pin that right now, so you can check out the pins. We've got a little tweet that talks about that. Okay, that's pinned up to the top of the space here. Basically, Shapeshift has built a bridge to Arbitrum directly into the rFOX experience to make it simple and easy to start staking. The flow is super duper simple. If you have Fox on ETH, you can simply pay the gas fee that it costs to get it off the ETH mainnet, and then you get 1-for-1 Fox. There's no slippage. There's no change in price. There's no effect to the amount of Fox that you'll receive on the Arbitrum chain. So that's, if you already have Fox on ETH, check that out. That's the easiest way to get it over to Arbitrum chain. If you don't have Fox on ETH, you can bridge it from any other chain, and there may be some slight slippage there, depending on where you're bringing it from. And then there is the other option, which is to buy Fox directly on Arbitrum chain. So looking at that, buying Fox on Arbitrum chain, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do it straight from your native wallet. So if you have other funds already on Arbitrum, say you have ArbETH in your Shapeshift wallet or any other wallet, you can connect that wallet to Shapeshift, pop into the trading tab, and just trade that for Fox. Boom, there you go. Then you go to the rFOX tab and you stake. If you don't have any crypto at all, you can buy it directly from the Shapeshift app using a credit card. Be sure that you buy ETH on Arbitrum first, because you're going to need that as your gas fees. Okay, so that's a common thing that people do by accident. I think that was one of the first things I did. I had one token on MetaMask. I was like, sweet, all right, how do I move this stuff around? And then I realized I had to get ETH. Yeah, if you're brand new to crypto and you're looking to take advantage of our Fox, make sure you have some ETH on Arbitrum, because you're going to need that to move stuff around it. The advantage of being on Arbitrum is that it's super gas efficient. It's one of the most gas efficient chains out there because it's an L2. So trades, swaps, purchases, moving tokens around, that will be very cheap compared to moving around on mainnet. So instead of being dollars, it will be pennies. Okay, so connect your credit card. There are some, depending on your region, there are some options that don't require KYC. So you can do that, connect, buy your ETH, swap that ETH to Fox. Already mentioned the native bridge, so you can try that out. And then in future, just to mention, that native bridge is also going to support tokens moving both ways, and it will support other chains, as far as I know. Gomes, let's just go to you real quick on the bridge, the technicalities of the bridge. Maybe you can let us know a little bit about how that came about and the roadmap for the bridge as well.
Sure. So as it stands right now, the bridge is only enabled for the rFOX functionalities. So if you need Fox and Arbitrum, which you will most likely do, coming from mainnet, that's integrated into the rFOX feature. So at the moment, today you can bridge from Ethereum to Arbitrum in rFOX. That's using the official Arbitrum bridge. So we actually consume the contracts directly. You could bridge on the official Arbitrum bridge UI, which would do pretty much the exact same thing, but we integrate that in rFOX. Moving forward, of course, we'd like to do the same thing in Swapper itself. So if you go to Shapeshift, click on Trade, ideally, we'd like to be able to bridge in and out from Arbitrum. That'll be the goal. It's actually working at the moment, but not enabled to users just yet, because there are some little, let's say, product technicalities with Arbitrum Bridge. So if you go from mainnet to Arbitrum, your funds are pretty much there in what, 10 minutes? It can be 15 max, but it's pretty quick. But if you bridge back from Arbitrum to mainnet, it will take 7 days before you can claim your funds, and then you have to actually click claim. So if you use the Arbitrum bridge, that'll be the same thing. They'll tell you, well, great, you just withdrawn. Now, wait 7 days and then come back here and click claim. Obviously, we have to implement that as well if we want things not to be scary for users, because it wouldn't be a good experience to just let you bridge back and then we don't have a right flow for that. So that's kind of like what we're refining at the moment. If you don't want to bridge back from Arbitrum to mainnet, please use the Arbitrum bridge in the meantime. But that's coming soon.
Okay, sweet. So you've got your Fox, you got it on Arb. That's pretty much all the hard part done. The rest is so simple, it's insane. App.shapeshift.com/rFOX, or if you're already on the app, depending on whether you're on the mobile app or the web app, there is on the web app, there's an rFOX button on the upper left. And in the mobile app, you just press on the little three dots and then you'll go straight to the rFOX tab. So once you're there, you enter the amount of Fox that you'd like to stake. Double check that your RUNE rewards are going to the correct address. We mentioned that earlier in the space. Just double check your Thorchain address. Approve Fox spending. So that's your first on-chain transaction, is approving the Fox spending that allows Shapeshift to actually access your Fox in your wallet. And then the second on-chain transaction is stake. There's a button there that says stake, boom, and that's it. And then you're essentially done. That's it, right? Gomes, John, nothing else beyond that. You just set it and forget it.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it.
Yeah, once you stake, there's nothing more really to do than to get your RUNE rewards as they accumulate and do whatever you want with them.
Sweet. Okay, we got a question in here from Aftermath. Auto compounding. Now, I'm just gonna venture a guess that auto compounding, that comes down to the RUNE rewards going into your Thorchain wallet, and then restaking those rewards. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, Aftermath. John or Gums, maybe one of you wanna touch on that one and mention whether that's even possible.
Yeah, I think I understand what he's asking, which is basically, does the RUNE rewards themselves like get staked and auto compounded? And the answer, at least right now, is no, is my understanding, and that's because there's no way to, unless you're running like a validator node on Thorchain, which is very, very capital intensive. There's no way to get single-sided RUNE yield right now. You would have to actually LP. You would be taking a permanent loss risk. I don't think Shapeshift would want to do that on behalf of users. You can LP during Shapeshift, so you could always claim your RUNE rewards every month as they get distributed to you, and you could then LP those if you want to earn further RUNE through Shapeshift. But that would definitely expose you to impermanent loss, so it's just something you have to be aware of. In the future, once RUNE Pool is up and there is a way to single-sided stake RUNE and gain RUNE yield, in theory, those RUNE rewards, you could basically claim them every month and stake them that way to earn additional RUNE. But right now, the main use case is you stake your Fox and you earn RUNE. Very simple. And then you do whatever you want with that RUNE. So you get this source of real yield from the DAO's trading affiliate fees, and then you get to do whatever you want with it.
Okay, nice. Good question, Aftermath. Keep them coming. Actually, Aftermath, you're one of my favorite questions askers. For every space we have started a thread now in the Discord. So if that's your bag, if you like asking questions on these, but you don't actually want to come on stage, go in and find I'm just going to find that channel right now, just so I can direct people. There's a channel called Event Threads under Marketing and Growth, and there will be a thread for each different space. You can just chuck your questions in there, and we'll try and get to them on stage. Okay, so rFOX is a significant upgrade to the token, the Fox token specifically. You stake your Fox, you get rFOX, and you maintain your Fox power, i.e., you're voting, still get to vote. Your trades, you still get free trades. On top of that, you're also then getting a portion of those affiliate fees. Beyond that, how is this a novel approach and a novel upgrade for the Fox tokenomics? John, I'm sure you were involved with the original Fox tokenomics and you've seen it evolve over time. So how does this fit with the vision of what you were hoping to see from Fox? And what sort of things does this do for the tokenomics specifically?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this is probably the biggest tokenomics upgrade that Fox has gotten in its history. So, Fox has always had governance power. It did get the upgrade to when the DAO enabled fees. It got the upgrade to allow people to get discounts on those fees by holding, an amount of Fox. Right now, that's again 300,000 Fox. But now you have this ability to actually earn native RUNE. Get real yield on your Fox that is not inflationary. So a lot of token based yield tends to be inflationary. Emitting of more tokens. Fox is a fixed supply token. It cannot be inflated, and when you're earning RUNE here, it's actually having the opposite effect because of the burn mechanism. It's actually turning Fox to become at least slightly and maybe significantly deflationary, depending on how the cycle and the markets go and how much volume is generated over time. So to me, it's a very big upgrade, but importantly too, it's also I view rFOX as a kind of foundational upgrade for Fox, meaning that other things can easily be built on top of it. So that's already started to happen within the community. So if anyone in the community has ideas of additional things to kind of add on to this base layer, that's a great proposal or discussion to have in the forums. So like I know the tokenomics workstream leader, Prof, is in the audience, has already put up a proposal that just recently passed to add a new bucket for rFOX that doesn't have any allocation yet, but is being discussed, so that, like, for example, rFOX will be able to reward Fox ETH LP stakers as well, and have them earn native RUNE, which is very cool. But there's all sorts of other things that can be built on top of this foundation now, in my opinion. Other buckets that people haven't discussed, differing opinions on how these allocations should go, what are the best ways to incentivize, to use this system to incentivize more volume, to bring more value to the entire ecosystem and everyone involved. It's kind of a wide open green field. So now, I think that's the other important aspect of rFOX, is that ultimately this reward distribution is all up to governance. It's all up to the community. So the community can make votes to change these buckets, to add new buckets, to reallocate among the buckets. And then there's all sorts of, I think, fun ideas that could be built on top of that. But I think it's a really great example of a truly community-driven tokenomics upgrade of, this was proposed not necessarily by any specific person with a formal role in the DAO. It was, debated among the community. It was passed. Now there's another community proposal that's already been passed, as I just mentioned, to add on top of that. I'm sure there will be more. So it's really up to the community to see how this evolves. But I think it's a really great foundation for Fox and Fox tokenomics to just keep evolving and getting better. So I'm really excited to see how this initial implementation goes and what things get added on in the future.
Yeah. So in terms of tokenomics in general, when I started reading through this and realizing that the full implications of what it was, I was actually floored, because so often you get your tokens. Say that's a 2 token LP, right? You've got, say, RUNE and Bitcoin. You are open to impermanent loss, but you're also earning the token from one of those chains. Let's use a different example, one that doesn't have to do so on Shapeshift. Your liquidity positions typically always involve RUNE. In other ecosystems, they're rewarding you with a token that becomes inflationary over time, because they're sending out more of that token, and it increases the sell pressure on that specific token. So on your native chain, or on your native token ecosystem, you're earning more of that token. You're then able to then sell more of that token, which is just dumping on the ecosystem. And this is where rFOX is different, because you're rewarding a token from a totally separate chain. So it's helping the ecosystem by bringing in more trades, and then it's helping the token by not adding into that sell pressure. So people are accumulating more Fox over time to accumulate more RUNE, and they're not selling any Fox. I think that's the really the power move from my perspective. I think that's something that really just opened my eyes to the whole rFOX ideal. So yeah, fantastic tokenomics upgrade. Right. So let's see, where were we in our agenda here? We were talking about okay, tokenomics upgrades. One of the things that we mentioned, that you mentioned, John, specifically, was that this is open to change over time. There have already been some new proposals out there defining new buckets. So that's coming in from Prof. Now, I've also heard that potentially this could open up um, to other chains. Are there other affiliate fees that are being earned from other chains at all? Will people be able to earn anything other than Rune in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's again kind of open to the community and depends on, someone making a proposal and doing that. I mean, the Shapeshift does earn other affiliate fees, although they're not as material or significant today as the Thorchain fees, but they could be from when people make, any sort of ETH trade through one of the other aggregators. Most of those pay Shapeshift some sort of affiliate fee. So in theory, you could, there could be a proposal to upgrade this and add it so you could actually earn, multiple assets. Maybe there's a world where in the long term, rFOX is going really well and the community wants to turn this on such that you can earn both Rune and ETH, for example. Maybe on any sort of Ethereum based trades, you also get a portion of those ETH rewards or something. But the same concept could be applied such that, that's entirely up to the community. But the cool part, I think the fundamental part of rFOX that I, would love to see, expanded upon to what you're saying is just that it's all, as you explained, it's all real yield, meaning it's not inflationary yield. It's not from emitting more Fox to create yield. Um, it's all based on trading activity that actually happens on the platform. That yield is accrued by the DAO, and then a portion of that is given out to the rFOX stakers. So um, it creates a very sustainable tokenomic model. And yeah, there's no reason you couldn't add additional other assets and networks based on other revenue streams that the DAO may have.
Yeah, I love that. So, in theory, we could be enabling fees from all the swaps that happen on the Shapeshift platform. What's the percentage of trades that happen specifically using Thorchain in terms of volume on Shapeshift? Is it a majority that are Thorchain trades?
That's a great question, and I don't have that data. Someone like PTT or Prof in the audience would probably know that better than me. But I think, from my understanding, the majority of the fee generating trades are Thorchain today. But I'm sure that depends on the day and the markets and who's deciding to trade what. But yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay, yeah. Feel free to shout out PTT or Prof. Yeah, go ahead and drop that in the comments. So I think we've already got comments coming in here. Yeah, so go ahead and chuck them in the comments if you know that specifically. Okay, so one of the things that we mentioned is the Fox power discount, quote unquote power discount. That's essentially your free trading amount. And this is variable depending on how many Fox tokens you hold in the connected wallet that you're performing the trade on. So how can you find out what your Fox power discount is? Again, super simple. When you're making a trade, there's a little info box that pops up. It tells you all the different steps that are going to happen in the trade you're about to perform. And there's a little shape shift fee display with a little question mark next to it. Click on that, and it displays a pop-up. This shows you your active power discount. And then there's another tab that allows you to simulate how much how much power discount you could actually get. So as you adjust the sliders, you would see how much Fox power you actually have and how large the trade is you're going to make, and then that will show you the fees that you're going to incur. Now, just so you're aware, these are the Shapeshift app fees, not the Thorchain fees, which become the affiliate fee that are rewarded to rFOX stakeholders. So if you hold enough Fox in your wallet, you will be getting free fees anyway, free trades anyway. on the Shapeshift app side. So that's a really interesting thing to check out if you're using the Shapeshift app. Something that I thought was quite fun. You get to play around with that graph and you see how your fees go down depending on the amount of Fox you hold. I think it's free for up to $1,000 for every trade. I don't think you have to hold any Fox at all. And then from that point, the fees start to creep in, and it goes down on a inverse inverse graph there. It goes down the more Fox that you hold. So check that out. That's really fun to play with. Right. Now, another thing that we talked about was burning Fox. So 25% of the rune goes to the rFOX holders, 25% goes to a burn, and 50% goes to the Shapeshift treasury. So, Goms, maybe you can actually touch on this one with the burn. How was that implemented? And then is that also something that happens once a month? Is that a very manual process? And how does that work in practice?
So the burn, I think it's more a mechanism that John may be able to touch on. But yeah, the actual rewards, as I said, distribution is a semi-manual process. So how that works is there is a pretty much a hot wallet that will be dedicated for that every month. This hot wallet receive funds from multi-sign, multi-sig, and then eventually will dispatch rewards. It is multi-sig as well. And it has to be initiated by humans, plural, obviously. And yeah, that's inherently a manual process for now because we're talking different chains, right? So every time there is kind of like a bridge of sorts, even well, EVM may be different sometimes with most bridges. Really do include some element of semi-centralization has to be done. But yeah, with the multi-sig, we really try to be as decentralized as possible, despite the limitations. And so that's why there is this manual multi-sig process at the first day of every calendar month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my understanding is basically that the 25% of that accrued rune will be used to just buy Fox off the market and then burn it every month as part of the rewards process. So exactly, where that Fox is bought from is up to the DAO overall.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the standard would probably just be to use the streaming swap feature built right into Thorchain. Since there is Fox liquidity on Thorchain, it's probably the easiest thing is to just buy Fox straight off of Thorchain using Rune and then perform the burn. But in theory, that could be directed in other ways. That's another thing that could be discussed and talked about. Since burning is actually a form of, or buying and burning in this sense, is in my opinion actually a form of helping with liquidity on various chains for Fox. It could be directed at a certain pool too. So like if the DAO wanted to, for example, add more liquidity to the Fox ETH pool on Arbitrum, one thing they could do is just take that burn every month, sell the rune for like some other asset on Thorchain, such as like USDC, and then use that USDC to then buy and burn that Fox on Arbitrum in that pool. I think the standard will probably be to just use the streaming feature on Thorchain to just directly buy and burn Fox. That's probably the easiest for the multi-sig signers, but again, that could be something discussed in the community of effectively aiming that burn at certain protocols or certain networks in order to help add liquidity to certain pools if people want that to happen.
Okay, keyword there, if people want that to happen. And as aftermath questions in there in the comments, can anyone get involved with what they want to see happen at Shapeshift? Hell yes, get involved. Head over to forum.shapeshift.com. Okay, so Prof. McCarthy, we're going to try and get you on stage. And as if by magic, you appear. Hey, how you doing?
GM, how are you doing?
Great. Yeah, great to have you up here.
Yeah, good to be up here. Thank you, John, for teeing us up really nicely with all of the details, the origin story, and yeah, our vision of how it's going to go going forward.
Okay, so yeah, you heard your name in there, and we were talking about what is the volume of Thor chain trades that happen on Shapeshift? Is it a majority of that are Thor chain trades? I know Thor chain is one of the largest volumes happening on Shapeshift right now, but how does it compare to EVM chains, Dogecoin, etc.?
Yeah, it is the lion's share of the volume that's going on the platform. So, any given month, different affiliate revenues from 0x or different partners of ours are probably, I don't know, 5% or maximum 10% of the Thorchain flows and Thorchain volumes. So yeah, that's really come to dominate the product market fit of the platform in its current form. So I would say that the rFOX is touching a majority of the DAO paid actions by users.
Got it. And do you know roughly off the top of your head what the numbers look like in terms of real world affiliate fees that are currently going? What's the 100% fee that's being accrued from those Thorchain swaps?
Yeah, so depending on price action, right? We have seen it skyrocket to in real terms. Oh, sorry, hold on, got something. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, still going.
Okay, great. So depending on what's going on with the price of RUNE, right? So in April we had about 14,000 RUNE as our total affiliate fees. In May was down to 10,000, and then in June we saw about 8,000. So um, it's kind of it's waxed and waned. Back in March it was much larger, but that perhaps was a blip, an outlier of sorts. So we're really not taking that March value, which was close to 35,000 RUNE. We're not taking that as any kind of actually I think it was more than 35,000 RUNE. We're not taking that as any kind of indicator of our expected monthly performance, but we hope that April and May tend to be so between 10 and 20,000 RUNE is kind of what we are expecting going forward. So the rFOX distribution would be anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 RUNE per month, pro rata to people, depending on how long they've staked, if that they've staked that full period, and then obviously depending on the share of the pool, share of the staking contract that they have.
Okay, so that is real yield. That's real money going to real people, and this is open finance, baby. This is what we're here for. This is really fantastic. Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that. In terms of new initiatives, I see there's a lot going on in the forum currently around rFOX and other things. So, is there anything that you're working on specifically, Prof, that that you'd like to mention, or anything exciting happening in the forums these days that you want people to get involved in?
Yeah, there's a few things, some good ideas from some community members that we're still vetting in terms of kind of the next iteration of it. I know that somebody wrote and kind of was asking about auto compounding, right? So right now the is just going to your Thorchain wallet, and instead there's been talk about what if that was automatically kind of sold into Fox and then restaked, and then there's been some talk about what if that rune was staked in some other protocol. So I think there's some uh, kind of iterations there that are being discussed, and so that's very exciting to have that kind of involvement of contributors and community members to have those ideas of ways to make it easier for our users, and then the second part of it is, ways to make it better for the DAO. And so to that point, part of the forum post and kind of part of my push in the next month or two is to really focus on shoring up the DAO's protocol and liquidity, really ensuring that we've got a lot of healthy liquidity indicators and just positions to make it so that people can have nice deep trades, not just with the Thorchain interface, right, with minimum slippage. And part of that is I would like to see an expansion of rFOX to include LP tokens. So to have people going over onto Arbitrum and LPing Fox with wrapped ETH and staking those tokens into the rFOX contract. And then when we burn those LP tokens, to John's point, it's a bit more capital inefficient, but I feel that it is more permanent in terms of the provisioning of liquidity to the overall system. And then once we get that in place, then to John's point, we can also start to really direct the liquidity that we're trying to incentivize, both in terms of pools and different chains and things like that. So yeah, I think that there's a focus and kind of a shift towards away from renting liquidity and into owning liquidity and kind of having the DAO be more of its own bearer of its financial soundness rather than hoping that the market will keep continuing with its largesse or inertia or whatever the case may be.
Okay, yeah, so if anybody wants to get active on there, check it out, forums.shapeshift.com. There's plenty still happening. In terms of staking, LPing, and then staking those LP tokens into rFOX to earn your RUNE, does that also maintain voting power?
Yeah, that would definitely maintain voting power. We would ensure that the underlying Fox in the LP tokens kind of just again, we would find a simple percentage way to determine it and use that as your voting power. And then we've also, I haven't formally discussed this or even kind of figured out the efficacy of this with our snapshot strategy, but having different kinds of, well, actually, no, we can't do that. Never mind. Yes, it will give everybody the same voting power, 1 for 1.
Sorry, I thought I was on mute there. I was in inception mode trying to share a post as well when you stopped, and yeah, so I'm back. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, you definitely are going to maintain your voting power, and you're going to be earning RUNE as well. Lots to come lots to see from that in the future. Okay, so we've covered quite a bit here. We've talked about what the hell is rFOX, why it's such a fantastic tokenomics upgrade for Shapeshift, and all the amazing things it does. We've had some great questions, many of them from Aftermath. So thank you very much for posing those questions to us. I can't necessarily answer all of them specifically because I'm not a tax advisor. You do say, is when you receive your RUNE, when that is directed to your wallet, is that a taxable event? As I said, I'm not a tax advisor, but I'm going to venture a guess that yes, that is something that you're going to have to track on your taxes. There are some fantastic tools out there for tracking. Obviously, Coinly, what's another one I use? Coinly is the first one that comes off the top of my head. There's an open source app called Rotki, ROTKI. That's an interesting one for tracking your on-chain transactions as well. I don't know if it's compatible with Thorchain or not, but you should definitely check that out if you're worried about submitting your taxes, which you should be. There was another question that you had in regards to LPs and if they're going to be earning any rewards, and that's pretty much a yes in the future. A yes potentially in the future. So you can keep an eye on the forum for what's coming out of there. And then another question you had was, you imagine it's the same. You imagine that the API is reverse looking, not forward looking. And so the APY, it really comes from the actual real yield fees, right? So that the actual real fees that are accrued. So it is reverse looking, right? Maybe one of you guys can correct me on this, but the amount of rune that you're going to earn on your rFOX directly correlates to the volume of trading that happened on Thorchain within the previous month, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Absolutely. Okay, so when you're trying to calculate your APY, it is really dependent on the volume of transactions that happens in the app on Thorchain in the previous month. So keep that in mind when you're staking.
I would just like
Okay.
actually to add one thing, just to make things less confusing. As a user, I know it's very weird when we talk DeFi things, but it's better not to think in terms of APY, and that's why it's not exposed. Because if you were thinking in that term, like it would change all the time. So you would see one APY, sorry, when depositing, and then eventually get your rewards. Like the epoch finishes end of month, the next one starts, and then your rewards are totally different because there were more rune fees. There were more people in the pool, and so yeah, your API will just change all the time. So TLDR is that we don't show it because it just doesn't really make sense. So it's really like magic. Like start of the epoch, you got your rewards, and whatever is the product of rune fees and rFOX depositors.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that clarification. Nice one. Okay, well, I think we pretty much covered everything there is to cover at this point on rFOX. We've talked about where the idea came from, how it originated, how it was proposed, the fantastic support that it saw on Snapshot. Nearly 90% of voters voted yes for that. How it progressed through the iterations after that voting. Obviously, you had to set the percentages. There were a couple of different options on there. I think it was 10%, 10%, 80%. There was even an option to rather than burn. There was another option out there. Check out that snapshot for the original voting options. Ultimately, the community decided on 25, 25, and 50, which personally I feel is a great split because it's meaningful income for people who are actually staking a fair amount of rFOX. So yeah, the whole process is really amazing how it works within Shapeshift as a decentralized community. And moving forward, we get to see what other cool things are going to come from this, how the tokenomics is going to evolve, making the whole community stronger, making it better for people to actually hold and stake Fox tokens, because that's one of the biggest questions that really arise from these communities is, okay, I've got your token and I can vote on what happens in the community, but what good is that for me? And so we just talked about it for a whole hour, why that is fantastic for users and holders and stakers. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. In terms of moving forward with spaces, next week, we have a super interesting guest who many of you know and love. I see his face right there in our audience right now. Um, our guest next week is Noun Space. I've just pinned it to the space, to this one here, so you can click on that and set your RSVP. For those of you who don't know Willy or Noun Space, it originally started a few months ago. They received a $100,000 grant from Nouns to build a Nounish Farcaster client. and they're quickly transforming into a new type of social community and a place for people and brands to express themselves in unique ways. Their recent fair launch had over $7 million worth of ST deposited, generating real yield that will start being distributed in the form of Space Token. So that's going to be their native token. You can find out all about that at space.nounspace.com. So join us next Wednesday at 5 p.m. UTC for a Noun Space deep dive with project co-founders and Shapeshift alumni Willy Wonka, RealityCrafter.eth, and Cameron B. We may be joined by some other people as well. Might have some surprise guests. So be sure to set your RSVP and join us on Wednesday next week. We're going to cover genesis idea and thought process, inspiration, working within the Nouns ecosystem, developing something unique, which is it's hard to do these days. Everybody says everything's already been done, but it hasn't, as Noun Space is proving. We're going to talk about who the hell is the illustrious Noun Space Tom. If you don't know who Noun Space Tom is, give him a follow. And the Noun Space roadmap. So a lot to come from that next week. If you're interested in nouns, if you're interested in social, definitely come check us out. So yeah, we discussed summary points, all about rFOX, why we're on Arbitrum. We didn't really get to Questbook. Unfortunately, Questbook and Arbitrum didn't make it today. I think they might have had their wires crossed. But Questbook, huge shout out to them as well for helping make this process possible. They were part of the original process for getting Shapeshift even on Arbitrum. We received a Questbook grant from Arbitrum we received a Arbitrum grant from Questbook, which helped us actually deploy on Arbitrum chain. So that kicked off this whole thing and made it all possible. So shout out to them, Arbitrum and Questbook. In terms of action items, before we get there, I've got 3 speakers on stage here. I want to ask you all, is there anything that you would ask the community before ending today? What are your asks? Let's start with you, Gomes.
Well, I guess my main ask could be, as usual, please try the feature. You don't have to do it with a lot of funds if you're not yet comfortable with that. Give it a try, see how that feels. If there is anything you would like to improve, anything that feels natural, they would make your life easier with rFOX. Don't hesitate to with the Discord. Products and engineering is always very active, so we'll be very happy to discuss and or implement it.
Okay, sweet. Prof, from you, any asks for the community?
My ask would, I think, just be get in there and mix up governance. It's probably been the quietest governance period the DAO has seen for a while. So if you do have even just some, throw things around in the forum, don't even bother to put it up onto ideation yet in governance, but some of these different ideas of how to go forward with rFOX or how to shake things up a little bit more. I just kind of want to welcome all ideas and creativity going forward. We don't have any definitive authority on the truth of how to go about this. We're all working on it on the fly and monitoring it also on the fly. So your feedback in terms of how you think it's going, your feedback in terms of where it could go that would excite you, I think is probably what I'm looking for going forward here in the next few months.
Okay, awesome. Get involved in the forums. John, anything from you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd kind of echo both what just Gomes and Prof said. Get involved, give the feature a try. Try Shapeshift, just trading on Shapeshift, or even Thorchain Lending if you haven't yet. It's an awesome interface, tons of awesome functionality and opportunities right within the Shapeshift interface. And yeah, get involved, like Prof said, in governance if you're interested. I think there's so many cool things that can be built on top of rFOX from here. That's going to be a continually evolving community discussion, and it will just be cool to see what people come up with, what people are excited about, and ways to keep improving this for everybody.
Sweet. All right. So it's pretty much unanimous. Get involved, everybody. I mean, this is what a decentralized organization is about. It's about allowing the community to help build from the ground up. And we have some fantastic builders in Shapeshift who want to work with you. So yeah, get involved, baby. Final question from Math Aftermath. He's asking how people can provide feedback on the rFOX process or any of the other processes within Shapeshift. So where's the best place for people to give app feedback?
Well, the best place for giving feedback specifically to like rFOX would be to jump in the Discord, and just kind of post in the tokenomics public or even just in the general, and we'll find it. App feedback, I would say, is probably a different matter because it might be technical or whatever. But in terms of the feedback that like I'm looking for, I would say either a forum post, respond to one of the existing forum posts that we have on there describing rFOX if it's specific to a concern that we've already discuss and kind of open up the conversation. Or like I said, just hop in the Discord, shoot me a DM, post it in the tokenomics public channel, and we will address it.
All right, sweet. Hop in the Discord. And for those of you who don't know, there's also a Canny board, CANNY. So if you go to shapeshift.canny.io, there you can post both feedback and requests. So if you have any requests specifically for the app, go ahead and check out shapeshift.canny.io. That is not a support site. There is a really handy support chat bot that I use quite often within the Shapeshift app itself. There's a super friendly guy in there, Tyler. He helps out a lot, and some other people who also get involved. So if you do need support directly within the app, just open up that chat interface, and they're pretty responsive. It's not immediate, but they do respond the same day. And if you forget about it, they email you as well. So definitely check that out for any support questions specifically. While you're here, check out our speakers on socials. Give Shapeshift a follow. I wanted to mention in terms of the benefits of holding rFOX tokens. As we discussed here, they may vary, they will vary over time. Things are going to change, things are going to develop over time, and essentially they're subject to change based on Shapeshift's development and strategic partnerships. So it's essential to stay informed about updates and announcements to maximize the potential benefits of holding rFOX. So be sure to follow Shapeshift on X, check out the Shapeshift forum, or hop in to the Shapeshift Discord to keep up to date on everything. Don't forget, none of this has been financial advice. Do your own research before getting involved. And Web3 is the new frontier, and we're excited to be exploring it with you. So thanks a lot, everybody, for another fantastic space this week. Really look forward to seeing you all again next week, along with Willie and the Noun Space crew. We got a lot to cover next week. We also mentioned OX in this space here today. They're going to be our guests the following week. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have Li-Fi and OX and how they're helping Shapeshift with aggregating trades on the EVM layers. So lots more to come from us. Keep your eyes open. Love you all, and we'll see you at the next one. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.